Hey, this is Aaron with Walk Ministries and Pastor Search, and I'm going to be bringing you a little message about what pastors are called to do, both on the sides of the church and on the side of the pastor. And so one of the things I'm going to do is read Ephesians chapter 4, verses 11 through 13. And it says, and he, talking about Jesus Christ, and he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. So the first part I'm going to talk about is two churches. A lot of churches, and I've been a pastor of one of them, and they say that we hired you to do the ministry, pastor, so we don't have to anymore. And I was actually a part of a church one time that I had a person actually said, well, we hired you and we can fire you if you don't do what we want. The first thing you have to know, whether you hire a pastor or not, it is God appointed position. And so the biggest thing you are as a church are not to look at as you, the board or the church or the employer, and the pastor is your employee to tell what to do. That is not the biblical plan for pastors. And so that is not what they are to do. They're not hired to do the work of ministry that you don't want to do. In fact, it says verse 12, why are they called? Why did Jesus Christ give these ministers? For the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry. And so you are not hiring a pastor to do what you want to do. Biblically, you're hiring a pastor to train you as a church body how to evangelize, how to disciple, how to worship, how to do the things for ministry, to lead people to Christ and to build them up, disciple them, and edify them in Jesus Christ. That's what the church is called to do. And that's what pastors are called to do for the local church. They are to train the local body of Christ to do the work of the ministry. So you need to get that in your mind of what a pastor is called to do. So when he comes and he wants to start training and show you things for ministry, embrace it, because that is what they're called to do. And if you have one actually does that, then you know that they are a God-called pastor. Now, a message to pastors. I have known a lot of pastors who only want to use those in ministry who are seeking out credentials or who feel a call to full-time ministry. And that is disobeying this passage as well. Because you do have a lot of churches that you have people in the seats that want to do ministry. They want to learn how to evangelize. They want to learn how to disciple others. They want to know how to learn to worship better and to lead others. Maybe they want to do gifts of helps, but they need avenues. They need ideas. But yet keep getting passed by for others who are called to do ministry. You know, when God says, who shall I send and who shall go for us? There's a lot of people in your churches that are saying, here I am, send me. And a lot of times the pastors keep overlooking them for people that the pastor has in mind should do it. And the one holding their hand up keeps saying, here am I, send me. And you're like the teacher, and you're like, anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Or sooner or later, pastor, if you have somebody in your church that really wants to be used of God and keeps being passed by, you can't be surprised when they search for another church. It's going to happen because they need to be used. God has called them to do ministry, but they need you as the pastor to train them for the work of the ministry. And so this is a short message for churches. Don't think you're calling a pastor to do the ministry you don't want to do. You're calling them to train you. And for pastors, train them. This is the biblical model for pastors and churches. So as a pastor, you're looking for a position in a church. Or a church, you're looking for a pastor to fill a position. Know the biblical model, and it will go a whole lot better. Hey, thanks for watching. God bless.